Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. My name's Sukhjeevan and you're on the Huffingtonpost special on Youth Takeover Day. So let's make some noise! What a great crowd. So, for today on our podcast, we have the minds of the young advocates and leaders here on our set today. Now, since we're on the topic of young people, I'd like to introduce you to our topic for today, which is Malala Yousafzai, or specifically, like we like to do it on the Huffington Post, how is she an effective leader? So let's get right into the podcast. So, for those of you who don't know, let me give you a small little, let's say, background on Malala Yousafzai. So, Malala Yousafzai is a Pakistani education advocate who at the age of 17 became the youngest person to win the Nobel Peace Prize after surviving an assassination attempt by the Taliban. Born on July 12, 1997, Yousafzai became an advocate for girls' education when she herself was still a child. This resulted in the Taliban issuing a death threat against her, and on October 9, 2012, they fulfilled what they were out to do, as a gunman shot Malala when she was traveling home from school. She survived and has continued to speak out on the importance of education. Now, let's get into the conversation. So how is Malala an effective leader? So for me personally, when I think of an effective leader, I think of two character traits of a leader, and that is determination and inspiration. And for me, I feel like Malala is able to hit both of these character traits perfectly. So let's get started with determination. So when she was shot by the Taliban, she could have easily given up, but didn't. As she said, God has given me this new life, a second life, and I want to serve. I want to serve the people. I want every girl, every child to be educated. Now, she could have easily given up after being shot by the Taliban, but instead worked even harder so that other people won't have to face what she had to go through. It is inspiring and heroic of her to risk her own safety for the sake of others. As a dedicated hero, Malala remains determined to improve the lives of others by giving them the gift of education and the power to stand up for their rights. And this seriously showed how determined she was, as even though she was shot by the Taliban, she did not want this to affect her vision of a better education for everyone, and she was determined to continue fighting and fighting until she's able to reach that goal. Another way that Malala was able to showcase how much of an effective leader she is that she once said that if one man can destroy everything, in which she is pointing to the Taliban leader, why can't one girl change it? Now, this showcased her determination and fighting style at its best, as she wanted to bring change to the mindsets of many people who viewed education in a negative way. And she wanted to change the views of the Taliban on education as well, in a peaceful way, showing that how much of an effective leader she was, as she wanted to change the mindset of everyone and wanted to showcase how education can be so helpful for a lot of people. While she was doing all of this, she wanted to bring change. She wanted to bring change to the effect that the Taliban brought to her community. And she wanted to bring change to the mindset of all these people, showing how determined she was to continue fighting her power and continue fighting her vision. Now, let's move on to my next point. And for me personally, when I think of an effective leader, the next point is obviously inspiration. So, when we think of inspirational leaders, we think of Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King, who were really great leaders and brought change to a lot of mindset and had a very big vision of change in the future. And another reason why many of us know Malala is, obviously, for her inspirational leadership trait, in which she is able to inspire many of her followers to follow common goals which can be achieved with everyone's help. An example of this can be her quote that stated that the important thing is to always ask the world to do some things, but sometimes they cannot be done, so you have to take the stab and you have to do them. Now, this showcased her effective inspirational mindset as she tried to inspire her followers to make change and to be their own advocates as well as leaders for their own cause or find that specific cause. Anyone with this trait of inspiration can be a very effective leader, including Malala Yousafzai, who is effective to inspire her followers on her goals and is inspiring her followers to make their own goals and to bring change to this world. And this concludes my views on Malala. And for that, let's end this episode. So that concludes our special for today on Youth Takeover Day, where we discussed about the effective leadership of Malala Yousafzai. And if you missed anything, please check out our YouTube channel for highlights of this specific podcast. And also, join us next time for Freedom Friday, where we are here to talk about great leaders such as Martin Luther King and many others who were part of the civil rights movement and were civil rights activists. So don't forget, same place, same time, you were watching the Huffington Post. Thank you.